Back in early March, barely a week into its attack on Ukraine, the Russian military encircled the southern port city of Mariupol on the Black Sea. Since then, the city of 440,000, usually bustling with activity, has come to a standstill. Food, water, and electricity have been mostly cut off. Early attempts at creating a humanitarian corridor to get life-saving supplies in and the injured out have failed. And now, with Russia abandoning its northern campaign to focus more on Ukraine's south and east, fears are growing that Mariupol, which has so far resisted capture, could become a humanitarian disaster. Turkiye's defense chief Hulusi Akar has offered to help evacuate the injured out of the besieged city by sea. Being a major Black Sea country, analysts say Turkiye could provide the quickest, most effective evacuation in Mariupol. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said recently that there is a possibility for Turkiye's mediation in the special mission in the port city. So could Turkiye, which has worked as a mediator between Moscow and Kiev, play a pivotal role in helping avert a potential humanitarian tragedy in Mariupol? And to discuss how fragile the situation is in Mariupol, joining me now from Oslo is Diesen. He is a professor at Southeast University of Norway. And from Istanbul, Mehmet Çağatay Güler. He is a researcher at SETA, a political and security think tank. A warm welcome to you both, and thanks for joining me on the program. Mehmet, Ukraine has recently created 11 humanitarian corridors to allow civilians to leave the conflict-affected cities and deliver humanitarian aid in some southern and eastern towns which are under intense Russian attack. How has that played out so far, and what are you hearing from the region, especially from Mariupol?
Well, what I hear from Mariupol is very concerning. It is significant. I mean, it is very significant part of Ukraine, and Russia attributes significant intention and significance to this region. This city is one of Russia's main targets, and since it is very crucial and strategic city, Russian armed forces do whatever they can to get the control of the city. So, despite the heavy bombings and shellings, there are still civilians living in there. It is estimated that 1,600 people are trapped in the city. And this raises the possibility for more civilian casualties, which must be prevented.
Yes.
And according to the Ukrainian authorities, it is declared that at least 5,000 people are already dead in the city. And they certainly need urgent evacuation, as far as I can say.
Yes. So, Glenn, what are you hearing? How dire is the humanitarian situation there, and how do people survive without basic needs?
Well, it's become very, very difficult. So the humanitarian situation in Mariupol is among the worst now in Ukraine, simply because it's been the most strategic city for Russia to take. This is the main city if Russia wants to organize its infrastructure properly to connect the Crimea with the rest of Donbas.
Yes.
So I think this is a very important part in terms for Russia to win the war, and especially in Donbas. But it's also been where the headquarters of Azov Battalion has been. It's also has a huge strategic significance after the war. So this is a city which Russia had to take if it wanted to win the war. So that definitely explains the level of violence. However, I think this city will fall fairly soon, I would expect. The resistance has been falling. There's been a lot of Ukrainian soldiers surrendering. There's been a huge amount of death toll in the Ukrainian army there. They have now been cut into 3 smaller pockets, and it's not much hope anymore left for these forces to be able to sustain this battle.
Yes.
So you have especially people from Donetsk. You have Chechens fighting. You also have the Russian military, and I think this will come to an end fairly soon.
Okay. So in the meantime, Turkey has said it could conduct civil evacuations of Mariupol by sea. Mehmet, why is Turkey best suited to conduct these types of evacuations in this area, and what has it done so far for the civilians?
Yes, Turkey has been proposing and pushing both sides for an evacuation from the sea. Ankara is trying to ease the process it assumes, again, a facilitator role in the humanitarian side of this crisis, a role that Turkey assumes from the very beginning to bring the both sides to the negotiation table. Besides being very dangerous to do this evacuation through the land, and Turkey as being a coastal country, coastal Black Sea country, Turkey can easily provide successful evacuation from the sea coast. And the reason that gives Turkey such ability is again related to its political position, which we conceptualize as an active neutrality. Such neutrality paves the way for Turkey to keep high dialogue with the both sides and to participate actively into any aspect of this conflict, including the civilian and evacuation of the civilian side, humanitarian side of this crisis.
Yes. So, Glenn, would you agree with Mehmet? Why is Russia relying on Turkiye's support for Mariupol evacuations?
Well, it could to some extent. Obviously, Russia also has a lot of interest in getting the civilians out of the city because, dead civilians that does not look good in any ways. It's not good for the Russian populations. They don't want to see these images. It's not good for the international community, and also it will definitely harm the ability to win the peace when the war is over if there's too many civilian casualties. But the ability of Turkey to evacuate people by sea, I'm a bit skeptical because there's something strange which has happened in Mariupol over the past few days. That is, now that the last resistance is collapsing, we see all these very strange and very desperate rescue attempts. So they've been sent helicopters into the coast of Mariupol, trying to evacuate some, I guess, strategic targets. But all the helicopters were shut down. Then they tried to send more helicopters. They were also shut down. So again, I don't know who they're trying to bring out from there, but that would be left to speculation. So I'm not going to go that direction. I'm just saying there's obviously some people they really want to get out of Mariupol. So I respect that Russia would be very suspicious that Turkey would assist NATO and Ukrainians in getting these the people that they have been trying to get out of Mariupol over the past few days.
So are you of the view that Mariupol will fall into the Russians?
Yes, no, I think no more than a few days left because they're losing more and more territory. Again, there are only 3 smaller pockets left now, and the Russians are now pushing harder, especially at the Azov steel factory, really using heavy weapons to drive them out. And as I mentioned before, this has many consequences, not just many deaths, but a lot of surrender of Ukrainian troops. I think only a few days ago it was almost 300 Ukrainian troops surrendering. So a lot of I don't see they being able to hold on there for much longer. And again, this is so strategic for Russia because once Mariupol has fallen, this will Russia devoted almost 40,000 troops to this region. Once Mariupol has fallen, these tens of thousands of troops will be available for redeployment. Conquer the rest of Donbass.
And so Russia will be able to secure a land corridor between Crimea and Donbass. So, Mehmet, what's your take on that? How its capture impact Ukraine's overall economy, maritime trade, and its connectivity from the world?
Yeah, Mariupol is one of the most crucial part of Ukraine, and as Professor Diesen said, it is one of the most strategic part of Russian operation. It is important for especially Moscow, besides Ukraine, because of 3 main reasons. It has geopolitical aspect, it has ideological aspect, and it has tactical aspect. In terms of geopolitical aspect, yes, this is the last piece to cut Ukraine off from the Azov Sea. And if Russia if Russia had able to cut Ukraine from the Azov Sea coast, then it will have a certainly negative impact on Ukrainian economy. Besides, Russia will gain full dominance over the Azov Sea, and it is very crucial for also Crimea and the water shortage in Crimea as well, and to be able to establish a land connection between Crimea and Donbass. So it has also significant logistical concerns from the Russian side, and if Ukraine will lose this territory, it will be a huge impact on its economy and the resistance in there as well.
Yes, Glenn, given the strategic importance of Mariupol, that brings a question to mind. Was capturing Mariupol the main Russian goal from the very beginning of this campaign?
Well, the main goal is capturing Donbas, but in order to capture all of Donbas, you need Mariupol. This is, again, wars are all about logistics. And so this demonstrates what Russia's been targeting. It's been targeting fuel depots, weapon depots, the military assets. And the main problem for Russia has been to organize its own logistics, that is connecting properly Crimea with Donbas. And Mariupol is the key town to achieve this. Mm-hmm. And again, you need Mariupol in order to get the rest of Donbas. And once Russia has all of Donbas, if the Ukrainians will not negotiate, then they can always go further north to Kharkov or go west and take Odessa and cut off Ukraine completely from the Black Sea altogether. So Mariupol has the greatest strategic significance in this entire war, which is why when it falls in a few days now, probably this will be a key victory for Russia. So definitely this explains why they've been willing to go to this huge length in terms of the destruction and the consequences for the civilians as well.
So, Mehmet, if Mariupol falls, what does an expanded Russian Black Sea coastline mean for Türkiye and the region?
Well, it will certainly have an impact on the geopolitical side of the Black Sea. Russia will be the most crucial and most powerful country in the Black Sea, because having control of the whole Black Sea coast of Ukraine will give Russia a certain dominance in the region, and also will certainly give Russia opportunity to use its power in other regions as well. If Russia control the whole coast, then it can certainly use those military and those naval forces in other regions like Eastern Mediterranean as well. It will also change the equation in the Eastern Mediterranean, not only in Black Sea coast. Mm-hmm. So it will certainly change the whole dynamic in the Black Sea, but not only in the Black Sea.
Yes.
So this region, especially the Odessa part, is very crucial for Russia. Besides the Mariupol and Azov part, in order to be able to control the whole region, Russia also needs Odessa very badly. I mean, it needs very badly to control the Odessa to get that control.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.